Well, fortunately, I had my mic off because I just started coughing. Okay, hi. It is the 18th of August. Ah, the heat, 100 degrees. I'm done with this. Tomorrow, it's supposed to be the same. And I just heard a cold front is coming and it's going to lock in the heat in the west. And then they said the central south. I think I'm in the central south. Okay, this is not fun. It is exhausting. And I also said that the sun is burning my hair to a crisp between the humidity and the sun. Ay, ay, ay. Hi, Amelia. And yes, 7.3 million acres so far burned. And I said, I'm wondering if Trump is going to sell out a whole lot, certainly of public lands that have burned, sell them to those developers, to those who want to log, to those, well, oh yeah, there are trees there, to the loggers, to the miners, to the drillers, to, and where does the money go? Where does the money go? We should be asking that. Andrew Cruz, hello, Tony, hi, and Jay Northrup, and Chrissy, and Granny's Garden, hi, Abuse Tuna, hello, Granny. Rage Against the Machine. Donald Beretta. Hey, Donald. Okay, but the sound is back, right? It should be. It should be. Uh, Magnus. Patricia White. Okay. Um, and I guess Sweet Barb is here. Yep, she's here. All right. So I just want to show you some headlines. Mhm. Oh my God. That I didn't even read the articles, but I don't have to. But these headlines came in like 10 minutes before going live, maybe 20 minutes. Here, ready? Are you ready? It's just a friggin' trip what we're living. Trump administration moves to rescind rule that protects millions of acres of national forest for the loggers, for the miners. Okay, this, yeah, I'll never forget that subscriber who was a Trump supporter said, "Well, at least this was in his first term. At least he's he's keeping his promise about gutting a lot of the regulations and everything." You have to look at what regulations during his first term. One of the regulations was, well, we can do away, with the regulations regarding big pharma, FDA, and we can fast track an awful lot of what big pharma is sending to the FDA. That's not good. All right. Well, so Trump votes by mail after calling ballots inherently corrupt. Don't you know it? Yeah, I can do it. But you know what? If you do it, and U.S. quietly deporting Mexican migrants to Guatemala and Honduras. And do you think that that's oops, an accident angering Mexico? I would say so, right? Of course. Because this is the administration that follows the malignant narcissist, and the malignant narcissist just wants to create a lot of problems, a lot of drama, and a lot of suffering. And whether they're malignant narcissists with him or just his flying monkeys, this is what they do. This is what they do. Okay? This is not cool. And Department of Homeland Security seeking humanoid robots to patrol the southern border. Okay, so we've got watchtowers now, we've got the wall, we've got drones, and now we'll have, whoa, I don't know. I think a lot of this is It's going to come back and bite us in the tuchus. Perhaps it's for us, keeping us in. And Trump approval falls to that magic number, 33%. I can't believe that there's actually 33% approving of him. That well, yeah, the American people. Let's do radar. Let's do radar, shall we? This is, the 90s Brooklynite. Hi, Stack Stevenson. Hi. Boy, well, there's no secret that I love my New Yorkers and I want more. Yeah. Uh, Trump is controlled by Bibi. You'd like to think that. No. That's what they want you to believe. Something else is going on. Something hidden. Something a little Jesuitist radar. Now we have. Look at how all of these material they manifest pretty much at the exact same time. We've got Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and into Florida. That's not looking good, Florida. This is not looking good, Alabama. So, and this is what was happening yesterday, by the way. So I think they put the same coordinates in to hit again this same area. And I showed it on the live stream. So what's going on up here in Wisconsin? That does not look good. And in fact, this is looking pretty wild. Manifests as a straight line. Oh, and then we've got it just, well, you got the frequencies. Perhaps they're pushing down the thunderstorms. Oh, man. Montana. Those are pretty hefty storms for you, Montana. Okay. Southern California, there go the blasting, extremely low frequencies. And this has been going on for at least 36 hours. Same old, same old. What do we have? We've got 16 active severe weather warnings for Alabama, Florida, Montana, and Wisconsin. Don't see any tornado warnings. Doesn't matter. Okay, you can look at the counties and Mississippi. Why Mississippi? You need to be up there. Severe thunderstorms, Mississippi. Okay, Minnesota. Are you up there? No. All right, so these alerts just came in about a minute ago. Gotcha. Okay. So Florida, Montana, Wisconsin, Alabama, Mobile. Hope it doesn't go any further. Florida. And the link is in the chat for the alert page. If you're in any of these counties and want to click on the link, you should click on Show Me the Full Warning. You'll get more detailed information. All right. Well, a lot of the flood warnings have disappeared. That's good. Not for the rivers, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Well, Colorado, you have it in Pueblo still, which is flash flood watch. You had a flash flood yesterday, was it? And here you go again. And this heat, all of the heat. Yeah, you get a little, oh my God, 100 degrees. Ugh, it hurts. Now, weather warfare. And I am amazed that people can't see this, but whoever comes on the live stream, you get to see everything that I've captured. So you know that this is going on all over, this kind of destruction, not just in our country, but also all over the world. And I would hope that if you just came across this and you didn't know anything about weather modification, that you would question, why is this going on? My God. And why is it that states where you have the destruction and then a week later you have more destruction in the same area? Okay, we'll get to that. But here, Hawaii.
The big island of Hawaii, where hundreds of people are still stranded after Hurricane Lala. Entire neighborhoods are buried under mud and water, and one isolated community has not seen any first responders. Jonathan Vigliotti has exclusive reporting from the scene.
Dangerous flash floods and mudslides left a wake of destruction from the town of Naalihu to neighboring Wa'ahinu.
The boulders that were coming down were so heavy they were like shaking the ground.
Alice Birnbaum returned yesterday for the first time to survey the damage. We were the first people she's seen from outside her community, Wa'ahinu, since Hurricane Lala hit.
We need water, people need propane, people need gas, people need food.
Around a dozen homes were destroyed overnight Saturday as the eye of Lala passed just off the coast of Hawaii. Wind gusts reached over 80 miles per hour, downing trees and power lines. But it was the rain, more than 3 feet in some places, that caused catastrophe.
We're here at what little is left of Highway 11.
Nobody has been to that neighborhood. No one from the government, no one. That's pretty, well, that's what we're getting now, okay? So it's not just the weather, but also pay attention to how government, how it used to respond. It ain't responding that way anymore. So what does that tell you? We are on our own. No, they have no problem. They don't. And it's very difficult to put yourself in their shoes to try to understand that, and I've tried, because I come from malignant narcissism, and the entire family, brother, sister, they're all really cruel. Okay. How do you put yourself in somebody's shoes that seems to just love to destroy? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's so bizarre, but psychopaths, malignant narcissists, the evil walking the earth, you got to destroy. You have to destroy them before they destroy you. But unfortunately, we didn't do that. So they're destroying a whole lot. Now, nobody's taking responsibility. Nobody's taking responsibility. Who takes responsibility in our country? No one. That's not the American way, okay? You don't take responsibility. You don't hold yourself accountable. Come on.
Oahu residents and businesses are still cleaning up debris and water damage. As Daryl Huff discovered, many are frustrated that the mess could have been prevented.
The neighbors at the end of Waiava Road were cleaning up again today, the 4th time this year. Saturday into Sunday, the bike path in front of their homes had turned into a river.
And went right down the bike path. And once again, for the fourth time, he came right to my house, right over the door. And again, the water in the house is this high.
Everything was clear, and then all of a sudden, boom, it came down like really fast. So the whole river, it's just piled like this all the way up the river.
This morning, the bikeway bridge was jammed with debris from upstream and from the neighboring ABC junkyard. The state was calling in an excavator, but because the stream passes many properties on its way here, it may not be clear long.
And nobody taking responsibility.
The neighbors say they've never had a year like this and say the stream doesn't clear out the way it used to. The big reason the neighbors believe the flooding has come more often here is because the junkyard has built up the berms that it uses to protect the rubbish. And that berm is preventing the water from escaping to the ocean and actually pushing it into their neighborhood.
It's got to go somewhere.
We were always the higher side of the river, so we'd never caught this much damage.
It caused the flow to divert. But we never used to have it this bad before. And they messed around with the flow of the stream, and now everything's coming this way.
Meanwhile, across the island, falling trees were the primary source of damage, like this house in Pearl City, where a towering albizia tree was a known threat.
It didn't surprise me. I kind of see it coming, how big it was. And I mean, the last time we had branches snap, but this time I think the wind was worse.
So I went for a walk, couldn't be out in the sun very long. But as I'm coming back, I'm looking at that tree that is right in front of this house. And I realized that I think it's one of the tallest trees in the neighborhood. I don't like it there. I really don't like it there. When we get winds like yesterday, and Arkansas saw some of destructive, even in my city, they lost power. And northwest Arkansas, they are, what's the latest phrase now that we hear every single day? Well, northwest Arkansas are cleaning up. Everybody's cleaning up. If you have these trees close to your home, get not this particular tree, any tree, do something about it. Get rid of it, because trees are going down everywhere if you have the resources. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. Heartbreaking. Maui businesses.
The storm also wrecked businesses and put people out of work on Maui.
Our Lee Duclos shows us who's suddenly facing the difficult task of rebuilding.
Just behind me, you can see several large trees came crashing down during Lala's whipping winds, damaging 4 local businesses here in Makawao.
And here's a closer look at what came falling down onto Leisha, Paku, Maui.
The top of the eucalyptus tree fell on this building here. So a lot of these beams were down. We took some of them out yesterday so we could salvage what we had left in our shop. And then it continues on through the back there. I was devastated by what had happened. We built our whole life into making this place special for our community and for our family. And in December, we would have made 10 years here. And to see it destroyed is just heartbreaking.
Right next door here.
And it really is heartbreaking. No, I can't get them to take the tree down. No, they wouldn't. It would be very costly. The size of this tree? No, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And crews in northwest Arkansas, but I think I have another. Don't I have another? I guess not. Okay. Yeah, northwest Arkansas.
We've been in the Mountainburg region all morning, and this is the most severe damage that we've seen from Monday's storms. Nearby neighbors did not want to talk on camera, but they say that the residents who lived here had just moved in on Saturday, all the way from Washington State. Mountainburg Mayor Susan Wilson says with the extreme heat this week, getting residents' power turned back on remains her top priority. The Crawford County Highway Department says they expect to clear most of the roads by the end of Tuesday. On Monday, crews were out after dark working to remove debris. James Parmenter says this is one of the most damaging storms he's seen, with trees and power lines
What happened?
down across the county. He reminds residents to avoid power lines, as some of them may be on, and urges everyone who has to drive today to be patient and take extra precaution. Even if a road is clear, trees could still fall. With crews working around the clock, Parmenter says no gesture is too small.
That's what we all need to do is help each other. We've had electric company helping out. You know, of course, we can't do nothing with their power lines, but we've had community people with their tractors out helping move, and just a lot to do with no more people than we got.
The mayor says she's grateful to nearby cities such as Fort Smith and Mulberry for offering to help. Congressman Womack's office also reached out to help clear this debris.
Okay, great. Good. And he's absolutely right. Yeah. Look at this tree. That top. My tree. It's nerve-wracking when the winds suddenly appear.
On Sycamore Street in Mountainburg. People inside, they just moved here 3 days ago from Washington State. Mom and her 2 young boys were inside when that tree crashed in. And that wasn't enough. Then this other tree was toppled right down on their truck. You can see the massive root ball that's here. Now, the good news is, while they were startled, they were not hurt. Take a listen.
I was cleaning the living room, trying to get everything organized from just moving in, and I noticed the storm outside and heard some branches hitting the roof, and then like 5 minutes later, a nice big tree hit our front window, so I took the boys to the bathroom and we rode out the storm. Definitely scared me a lot. I didn't know exactly what to do, so I picked them up and hauled them into the other room, just trying to make sure everyone was safe.
Now tonight, Rayanne and her family are staying in a hotel room just down the hill from here in the town of Mountainburg. Down trees and power lines blocked Highway 71.
She just moved in 3 days ago. Homes in Cambridge City suffer heavy damage. It's all over, guys. It is all over. Okay, we have Hawaii. We have all those suffering the fires. And it's not just Washington, it's Oregon, it's Colorado, it's Utah. I don't know if any homes were burned down in Arizona, I can't remember. So you got that. And this flooding, man, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana. Did I miss a state? I think, West Virginia. Portions of Kentucky. It's so overwhelming. It really is overwhelming.
Their basement. Even we saw the water line in their house even went up above the headboard of a bed in their bedroom. Their family down the street is really dealing with the same situation right now. They have the water ripped holes in the floor. I mean, even when I was walking on it, it kind of warped it in certain places. Everywhere you look, it's just covered in mud, and you see that mud, and then you look at the walls, and there's just photos of their family hanging up.
When you go back and you look at everything someone's worked for their whole life, washed away in minutes, you know. My uncle didn't have the strength to come back to his home yesterday. He didn't want to see it.
Because this is financially, it's going to be hard. So we're just going to work through it one day at a time.
They're marking the homes. How many times have we seen this throughout the years? You know, I was watching. I tried to find some of my videos that I might be able to repost on this channel regarding weather modification. And the first video that I came across was this tribute, Hurricane Isaac, 13 years ago. And it was so horrendous. And I can't play the, there's something funky going on with my computer, but I can't play the music because I will get a copyright strike. But it's, the music is Hallelujah. You know that song. And just looking at the devastation. Oh, that's right. It won't play. It won't play I can't believe it. What the hell has gone on? All I did was clean, with CCleaner, and suddenly now everything is so screwed up. But I have to tell you, man, it is, let me see if I can see Windows Media Player Legacy. It won't play very well. I'll get a copyright strike. And I have to tell you, watching this, I actually started crying because, we have witnessed so much suffering. And when these hurricanes, decades ago, Katrina, Harvey, Isaac, so many, okay? And they really brought about like, oh my God, and people were posting on it. But now the kind of destruction that you see it's going on in Indiana. It's going on in West Virginia. It's going everywhere. And it's kind of like the response is, oh hum, right? Well, I don't want to normalize any of this. So, yeah, and I went through everything that these assholes were saying, but it was just horrific, and it's still horrific, just looking at the pictures. And I have to say, Indiana comes close, really comes close. The scale of destruction. So remember, when we were watching all of this and looking at this and going, oh my God. And so now it's still going on all over. So many people suffering. And oh God, it was so horrendous. But I have noticed the recent events, they don't talk about all of the four-leggeds dying. Sometimes they do, but mostly it's kind of, I don't know. I might have a different perspective since I've been really looking at this for 16 years, but a lot of the destruction seems whitewashed. Look at this. Oh, God. This is, you know, this is our country. All of the animals, people not, you know, what the hell do I do? Where do I go? And what got me was that it's still going on. It's still going on. You know, it's like we can't get anything stopped. Oh, boy. And yeah, when you think about the electricity, I don't know how long it took for them to get their electricity from Isaac, but there are a lot of people without power. It's a horse. You know, it just is Katrina. The amount of death and destruction. And I think it was, yep. Yeah. And these were people who were interviewed. And I remember, I don't remember exactly what they said, but I remember the overwhelm that was it was clear, overwhelmed, confused. This is, yeah. So and I would say at least 13,000 Louisiana homes damaged. Wow. Tony, were you affected by Isaac? And all of the politicians came down, and you know they did their photo shoots, and I am sure that there are people who never were able to recover. Well, you do your best, and sometimes it matters nothing. And this reminds me of Katrina. It reminds me of Harvey. It reminds me of Isaac. You know, and I not to ignore all of the hurricanes that have hit the Gulf, but it's hard, man, to take. It goes on and on and on. Oh. No, you weren't. Okay, good. Not really too much by Isaac. By Katrina, yes. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my computer, but it's pissing me off.
Welcome back to 13 News. We started 4:30 with flooding cleanup. For people in Anderson, the water is finally back in its banks, but it is leaving behind a ton of damage. Look at this. This is the aftermath of one home just north of downtown. And we know water can be so damaging. It's going to be a long process getting back to normal.
Yes, very long process. Extremely long. I mean, look at this. So this happened days ago, that flood. Look how much water is in their basement.
After that record crest of the White River. Take a look at how much water is still in that basement. The homeowner estimates there are 61,000 gallons of water that he has to pump out, and that doesn't even count the 3 feet of water that was on this first floor.
As rain continued to fall Thursday, the water continued rising on Alexandria Pike.
Just watching it all in ruins is heartbreaking.
It's when we first met Forrest Fairchild, now returning to his home after the flood finally receded.
I've seen water damage in the past, working in different areas of business, but I've not seen anything like this.
He describes the damage like the aftermath of a robbery. In his daughter's room, furniture upended and toys trashed. The pressure from the water even knocked out a basement window.
Stop. It really is. It's really emotional. And I know my fiance has been a trooper. And I told her, I go, if you want to come out here and come in, I go, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be tough. It's going to hurt.
Forrest says he's lucky his flood insurance will help, but it will cost him every bit of $150,000, if not more.
The city of
People have to be very flush in order to recover now. See, this should not be happening. I don't know what's going on, guys, so I hope that you can have patience. But I set up all of these videos, and I don't know why they're going right back to the beginning.
The destructive power of raging floodwaters on full display in Cambridge City. Piles of people's personal belongings are stacked along the street for several blocks. Many of them have lost everything.
It doesn't bother you until it's a family thing that you've had for several years. And that kind of gets to you because it's not replaceable.
Bruce Ladd has spent the past several days cleaning up after his home took on several feet of water. He showed us inside his home where he and some helpful volunteers have been tearing out the drywall and scraping a thick layer of mud off the floor.
We're getting along pretty good. We've had a lot of help from people here in the community, so that's been a real blessing.
He's lived in this house for 32 years. Most of what was his home is now sitting in the front yard. He's been staying with friends in the meantime and says the support of the community has been a godsend.
You don't need anything. They come around, food, cleaning supplies, personal hygiene stuff. They got a washer and dryer down there now at the church. So anything you need, the town's taken care of, or the church down the street is taken care of.
The city's
Well, that's the way it should be. Good, good, good. Very happy to hear that. And tornadoes tore through the Chicago area and northwest Indiana. 1 week later, NIPSCO, which is the utility, reports 93,000 customers still remain without power. 93,000 remain without power. And I don't know how hot it is in Indiana, but that would make trying to clean up, trying to, figure out what to do next, very difficult.
I walk here almost every day, and I noticed those. I thought, seems like that's something you could get on right away since the poles are down.
Take a drive down Dyer, Indiana, and this is likely what you'll see. Down power lines and homes left in the dark.
We are at just over 50% of our population is still without power days in. And frankly, in town, it's reached a boiling point.
And it's not just Dyer. Much of Munster, Indiana, also in an outage.
We've got a lot of residents who have been without power for about 5 days now, and people are getting stressed out about it.
Now, both communities are teaming up. Dyer Town Council President Bob Starkey telling me he just wants a clear answer, adding to the frustration, not having an update or even a clear estimate for when power will get restored.
What has the communication like been with NIPSCO top brass?
Non-existent.
It's not just homes that are running on generators here, it's critical infrastructure, police, fire stations, lift stations, and wastewater treatment facilities all running on backup generators.
The first to go is food in the refrigerator. Some pumps have stopped working. Basements are flooding. There's mold and atmospheric concerns, and they're just getting restless.
NBC5 reached out to NIPSCO Sunday night. The utility company has been working to restore power to Northwest Indiana since Tuesday's powerful storm. They tell us in part, quote, restoration is dictated by the severity and extent of the damage. In some areas, repairs to major transmission and distribution infrastructure must be completed before work can begin on smaller sections of the system, serving individual neighborhoods. Sunday night, still no concrete update for Dyer or Munster. While NIPSCO continues to tackle the hardest hit areas of Northwest Indiana, the concern now is for the immediate impact to neighbors.
And I have to say, I feel like they just drag their feet. The fact that they don't communicate with residents or even local government officials, okay, that's very telling. And it's telling of they don't care. And I think, this is when I would be, criticized as, you're so negative, you're so dark. I think they do it purposely. I really do. To have so many without power still, this is not quite right. And here, utility crews, it's all over, by the way. Different counties and towns.
Week after severe storms slammed Portage, some residents are still without power. Utility crews are working as we speak to restore that electricity. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Patrick Elwood. We welcome you in this noon hour. Our Emmy Victor is live in Portage with the latest on this ongoing effort. Emmy.
Well, Pat, when you have been without power for 7 days, there's nothing you want to see more than this white utility truck here behind me. We are here near Blake Road and Stone Avenue here in Portage. And for the last 2 hours or so, utility crews from NIPSCO have been working to cut down this large tree you're looking at that fell on top of these power lines. And according to the mayor who we spoke with moments ago, this has really been a big concern. In some of the cases, NIPSCO are the only crews with the proper certification to handle all of these live wires, as well as all of these down trees. During our conversation with the mayor earlier, we asked him, how soon could it be before power is restored to everyone in this community? While he did mention that about 50% of his residents do have power right now, there's a long road ahead. They are waiting on NIPSCO to give them an update on restoration.
Districts are named after one of the cities that are within them, but they include often multiple cities. So Portage is part of NIPSCO's named the Gary District. So it's Gary, Calumet Township, Portage, Ogden Dunes, South Haven, and Burns Harbor. So what happens is that there's no projected timeline yet for the restoration of the Gary District. But within that Gary District, you have over 100,000 people between Portage, South Haven, Ogden Dunes, Gary, and the rest of Calumet Township.
Okay. I don't understand why there's a lot of people without power. And I also include this so that when you have, your weather event and suddenly you're without power, you can't, depending on, how bad it is, you cannot expect your power to come back on. So if you've got the money to get a generator, I recommend that you do so. Perry County, this is Ohio. Wait a second. What? Another round of flooding for Perry County that just had a round of flooding, and now they're having another round?
We are feeling the love from first responders and volunteers.
Inch by inch, rain fell and floodwaters rose.
The rain started around 1 o'clock, and by 2 o'clock, it was up 3 feet. And by 6 o'clock, it was about 4 inches from going in our house.
Shay Hale watched as the water got closer and closer and had a full heart when she saw rescue crews in boats at her doorstep.
Because I was checking to make sure it wasn't going in the home, because it's all I have. That's when they asked me if I should go, and I told my dad I should probably go. Sorry, it's been really hard.
She wasn't the only one rescued.
We've had a few that we just knock on the door and woke them up and said, hey, you got to get out because the water's rising.
West Licking Fire District crews in boats rescued a couple from their home as the inches continued to fall. About 15 departments assisted New Lexington rescue more than 50 people overnight Saturday and into Sunday morning.
What's this last week been like for you in your department?
Very tiring, and it's a lot of hours, a lot of coffee.
Many of the
Okay. They just had major flooding in Perry County a couple of days ago, and they were hit again yesterday. Parts of Ohio crushed again by storms and flooding.
County just can't catch a break. They're dealing with the second round of major flooding there in just days. Our Hannah Bozay back there this week with a look at what they're dealing with.
Good afternoon, Bob. Chief Newland with the Crooksville Fire Department told us that cleanup efforts began late last night when the water began to recede. He said that their priorities were the bridges so that if the water got too high, people could get out if they needed to. Now,
Insane. This definitely needs to be questioned. How is it that people are not questioning this? Please look into weather modification and geoengineering. And I'm so pissed that I can't say I have a playlist. So pissed.
devastating to the donations that they had received.
It was very hard. It hurt really bad because we've been here since Tuesday for the first flood, and we've been trying our hardest to get as much donations as we could we got people all the way from West Virginia came up with donations to help the flood victims here. Waters, cleaning supplies, clothes, everything, and 90% of it was lost. So now we're
Why was it lost? Well, they had a tremendous amount of donations right here. And then they were hit again with a flood. Yeah, this is really...
It has been nearly one.
My computer is really, I don't know what the hell has happened. But this is also Ohio.
1 week since that first round of severe weather brought a tornado, damaging winds, and flooding to central Ohio.
And this weekend.
Oh, that's right, a tornado. Right. Tornado and flooding again.
His latest round of rain, well, that led to more flooding just days after the high water had receded. 10 TV's Catherine Simon is in White Cottage tonight in Muskingum County. A resident there, they are still seeing the impact. Catherine?
Yolanda, Jeff, this is what several homes in this community look like right now. Furniture and belongings that were damaged in the floods now sitting in their yards waiting to be picked up. And
Eldridge's front yard ruined in the recent flooding.
Our camper has got flooded out. His truck got flooded out. That's how deep it was.
For her, it's been a week of finding damage, replacing appliances, and cleaning up.
We've been coming home, working, dealing with this. So, little by little is all we can do.
Just up the road, Melissa Hill shared this video of the water, and this is the aftermath.
I've lost just about everything I've been in the flood. But in my heart, I know things are going to get better. It's just going to take time.
With creeks crossing through White Cottage, neighbors say they're not immune to flooding.
I've had a lot of floods since I've lived here, but this is one of the ones that's the worst ones I've seen.
And everyone is saying that. This is the worst. This is the worst. 5 days ago. This was 5 days ago in the same area.
I made my kids get in the car, and I had my 16-year-old just drive it up the back alley out of the water.
Yep. For this mother of four, the damage is simply too much to put into words. Floodwaters rushing into this Crooksville home, soaking the entire living room and turning once white carpet brown. Her mother-in-law stepping in to help the family.
Just watch your step. It must have been kind of, it's all, this is, everything was floating. When I came in yesterday, it was up to my chest.
She says her nephew ran to the house to warn the family of the storm.
He called me, which I live on the other side of town. Get down here, they're going underwater.
Personal belongings were destroyed, windows were broken, and water damaged items inside cabinets. The family even moved some of their belongings onto the bed, trying to keep what they could from getting wet. The water levels in the dog's cage here in this home got so high they had to evacuate the dog, but you can see here how his blankets are still soaking wet.
We got the dog out. That was the main concern with the kids, and we got them all to safety.
Through all.
This is insane, guys. This is really bad. Really bad. Okay. Volunteers help clean up South Columbus. But man, if you live next to any of these areas, I hope you're driving out, and just lending a hand, because they need a lot of hands.
Are making some progress. This was one of the hardest hit neighborhoods just off of Parsons Avenue. You can see that the wind ripped the roof off of this home behind me here. It's also completely slid off of its foundation. You can't go inside this home. A lot of people here without somewhere to go back to right now. But today the focus was on cleaning up some of the sidewalks and roads. City crews and the volunteers made a lot of progress down here. They collected sticks and power lines, all of these bags right here. It's just the start of a long cleanup process.
And 2 dead after explosions rock Toledo industrial facility. This was today, this morning.
13 Action News starts now with breaking news.
Well, welcome into Action News at 4. We have some new information linked to that breaking news that we've been following since about 5 o'clock this morning. Toledo Fire and Rescue now confirming 2 people are dead after a fire and an explosion happened at Brent Industries. It's off of South Avenue, and that happened early this morning.
A news conference just wrapped up a short time ago. Our Alexis Means and Brianna Weaver both joining us live for team coverage on this story this afternoon. First, Brianna has the latest from that news conference. Brianna?
And so 2 people died, a man and a woman. And the woman was Mary Allen, 64 years old. The name of the other employee was not released. This is Mary Allen. Okay, lots going on, huh? A whole lot is going on. Industrial explosion. I'm sure we'll get more information as the minutes roll on.
It rumbled the whole. What the is that?
It was about 1.5 miles, but it was still strong enough to send the shockwaves down my neighborhood like it did. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. You have kids, you have a wife and family you want to protect or whatever. And when things first happen like that, you go into protect mode. Nerves are everywhere. You don't really know what to do, but you're trying to watch out because, you just have to. Explosions, we're talking about explosions.
Police everywhere. I swear to God, Toledo might be under attack. Oh my God, look, there it is.
Well, I live on Brooklyn Street in Toledo, Ohio, not far from where this explosion occurred. And every morning, me and my wife were up. And this morning I stepped outside and the first one, it rumbled down my block. It actually rumbled down my block and it sounded like a bunch of Army robot soldiers. Second one was even more scary because,
Army robot soldiers. Wow.
You don't know where it's coming from. And, you know, you wonder what vicinity it's in because you have loved ones in the city.
All righty. Well, a whole lot of Americans, I think, are on edge. The recent storms damaged central Ohio corn crops.
Well, the recent storms with the strong winds and the heavy rain damaged or flooded a lot of homes and businesses across the state. The storms also hit central Ohio farmers pretty hard by damaging crops.
10 TV's Doug Petcash went to Champaign County, west of Columbus today, to see what farmers are dealing with.
And this is the problem facing many farmers across central Ohio. You can see row after row of corn plant laying down. There are others deep underneath this, preventing them from growing properly. A farmer we talked to said thousands of acres look like this across central Ohio.
Where we got areas where the corn's laid over, there's corn on top of corn on top of corn. So the corn at the bottom of the pile can't photosynthesize correctly.
And that means it won't mature. Farmer Scott Hare estimates the powerful winds produced by last Tuesday's storms bent or broke corn stalks on roughly 600 acres of the 4,000 acres of corn he raises in several west central Ohio counties.
There will be harvestable yield here, but the problem is getting a combine through this mess is going to be a challenge.
Hare says some farms in the area fared better, but others fared much worse. He says he'll survive the loss, but will still feel the loss.
You know, financially, we're in a stressful situation already. Then add insult from the weather, and that makes it more stressful.
Hare says the rain from the recent storms has helped his corn that's still standing and the soybeans he also farms. However, Jordan Haywisher with the Ohio Farm Bureau says other areas received too much rain over the last 2 weeks.
You know, so results are kind of TBD right now on how bad the damage is, but hopefully, you know, the fields can drain quick enough that we're not seeing that long-term damage.
Now, I know our corn is GMO, okay, but it's food, and there are so many farms that have been destroyed due to weather. So put that in your, you know, basket of, I don't know, deplorables. Put that in your basket of horribles. We've got so many horribles taking place that think about, is there a possibility of a famine in our country? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Lightning sparks massive explosion at Oklahoma pipeline facility. Okay, yeah. Whoa. This is fuel tanks, lightning? Okay.
A stunning explosion in Oklahoma blamed on this relentless run of severe storms, with lightning striking massive tanks filled with natural gasoline, according to owner Explorer Pipeline. Drone video showing the jaw-dropping aftermath, balls of fire, and thick black smoke billowing into the air. It follows a harrowing stretch of severe weather coast to coast, from hail in Colorado to flooding in Ohio. In hard-hit Indiana, fast-moving floodwaters wiping out bridges, ripping apart roads, and swallowing entire neighborhoods in Indianapolis.
Well, yeah, okay, but lightning hit. We didn't see this, you know, for, I'd say, for the first 4 decades of the baby boomer's life. We just didn't see this. Now, well, lightning, they can steer lightning and they can create lightning. Okay. Yeah.
After the flooding,
this is not setting up properly.
Comes the cleanup. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Michael Spencer. Karen Lee is off this week. Well, this is just some of what we saw this weekend. Roads and parking lots flooded and hail so thick that it looked like...
This is Colorado, by the way.
Snow. One Jefferson County community is worried what might happen the next time that it storms. This retaining wall near the Dutch Creek Farms community failed in multiple spots, sending rain and mud flowing into homes. Your reporter Gabrielle Vidal is live in Jeffco for us tonight. And Gabby, neighbors actually warned CBS Colorado that this might happen years before that retaining wall was even built.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. And the residents that got the flooding, some got the flooding right into their homes. And they're like, okay, I have seen and I have shown some of it, but I have seen so many people, Americans, who are talking about how these developers with their retaining walls, how they're not working and they're flooding out the residents that are behind the retaining wall. What's going on? Why can't we figure out how to build things properly anymore? I'll post the link if you want to see this. It's it just seems like everything is really falling apart in our country now. Peru had a massive flood. Come on. Yep. Lima, which is the big city in Peru. You know, this just keeps going on and on and on. And the amount of destruction in South Korea is really just the amount of destruction of the roads in South Korea is really quite, you know, I hear myself think shocking, but is it really?
And forcing massive emergency evacuation.
It's hard to control the audio when all of these clips are different. Look at this. Look at this. So many roads are just like this in South Korea. So, oh man, look at this. Look at what water does. So much destruction, so many offices, so many homes flooded out. The cars are, it's countless numbers of cars. Massive flooding all over. This really does need to be questioned.
That building suffered catastrophic physical damage to its outer supporting walls. No casualties were reported because the family had heeded earlier government text alerts and evacuated to a shelter just hours before the hillside collapsed.
Oh, and the landslides and the mudslides because of, you know, all of the flooding. It's, well, yeah, this is now what we live, and it's been going on pretty much on a daily basis. You know, 2026 has been one hell of a year. Oh, and listen, I don't know if you saw this, but I did. Inside the growing movement to ban weather modification, and I clicked on it, and this was NBC, and I thought, wow, they're really going to do a segment on this. Wow, great, right?
We are talking about the future of geoengineering and this crash course it seems to be on into the world of conspiracies. Now, geoengineering is basically an umbrella word for altering the atmosphere or climate on purpose. And now there's this nationwide push to ban it, and it is growing. And a lot of it's being fueled by conspiracy theories like these.
If you want to hear this shithead, click on the link. So, and then he says something about, now, you know, I think most people understand that they do cloud seed. That's it, right? And New York City, wow, okay. They're exploring voluntary buyouts.
Homeowners in flood.
For homeowners. New York City, flood-prone area. Okay. Wow, buyouts. FEMA buyouts. And this has been going on for a very, very long time. Longer than, I think, 2 decades. FEMA, flood, okay, we'll buy up all of these properties because you can't sell them, certainly if they've been flooded 2 or 3 times, no one's going to be buying it. So FEMA swoops in and says, hey, we'll pay 75% of all of these properties. Then the local government or state government will put in 25%, but you have to raise all of the properties, and no properties, no structures can ever be built, ever. Gee, it sounds like they're trying to move people into different areas and also keep an awful lot of the country uninhabitable. Like you can't have business, you can't have homes in these areas. No, you can't. So this is New York City now, which is really surprising to me, but there are some, areas of New York City that are, kind of suburban. I don't know. Suburban, I guess, is the right word. But look at West Virginia, okay? And the number of times that West Virginia has been hit just this year, and I didn't collect all of them, but they got hit again. So state of emergency declared for all 55 West Virginia counties, 55 West Virginia counties due to the flooding. When was the flooding? Oh, it was Sunday, I believe.
Some more active weather tonight.
Yeah, we've had some problems out there. We've had some flooding, and we're going to show you some scenes right now in Kanawha County.
Yeah, this is in the town of Pinch on South Pinch Road and Quick Road. You can see in the video that one car has already become stuck due to the flooding. Dispatchers say another person's vehicle in the area had to be removed from the water by emergency crews after becoming stuck, and both roads are currently closed there, Spencer.
So that shows you how quickly things are happening. See that drain right there?
Yeah.
I mean, these drains, there's just nowhere to put the rain right now. And
Nowhere to put the rain. Yeah, way too much. Overwhelms all the drainage systems.
We had another downpour, and I'm going to show you those amounts right now over the past couple of hours, and it's been another inch or 2 of rainfall in a few spots. Appreciate our crew getting out there with have a flood warning that continues.
Utterly, there's so much destruction. Storms bring damage and flooding to West Virginia. Sunday. And look at this sky.
We've talked about tornado warnings earlier tonight, and while it's unclear if any touched down in our area, you might feel a little scared if you looked up and saw this in the sky. As you can see clear as day in this video, the clouds, they appear to be in a swirl. This was sent by a viewer earlier today. It's hovering.
They appear to be in a swirl, the clouds, right? Are we looking at a little hurricane? What are we looking at? We're looking at a manufactured cloud with frequencies going through it.
Bring over this neighborhood, but so far no official tornado sighting reports have been released this time. We're still monitoring those though. And also take a look at this. You can see some water flowing down a stream in Nitro earlier tonight. This is what a lot of Putnam and Kanawha County residents, they've been seeing tonight. There was also a do not travel alert that was sent out tonight due to the severe weather. Dispatchers say they have multiple reports of cars that are stuck in high water. Assessing the situation. Let's move right along. Take a look at this video. Just another example of what neighbors are dealing with. These videos, they were shot along the west side of Charleston tonight. It's definitely a different view of the back of a viewer's home with water pouring into their patio areas. You can see right there. It really shows the heavy amount of rainfall that we've been seeing tonight. Now, also areas like Paint Creek and Cabin Creek, as we're going to show you here, also experienced some flooding with reports of a mudslide on I-77. You can see it right there north in Whitaker. Now, we've been told that that road, it has been cleared and now, but definitely still some hazardous. And also in the Oak Hill community in Fayette County, you can see the flash flooding also impacted traffic patterns, leaving some vehicles stranded in the high water. There's some water rescues there. In a social media post, the Oak Hill Fire Department says they have also been working with other local agencies to cut down some trees down over US 60 in Ona. We're also seeing a lot of reports across our region of trees down. Crews have been
trees going down everywhere. So, tragedy in West Virginia, absolutely. And I was glad. Oh, this isn't the one. All right. August 6th.
Exceeding 3 inches per hour has become epicenters of the disaster, prompting local emergency authorities to issue a high-level alert.
Rescue is on the way.
So I'm just going to go through this quickly, but there was a lot of damage for West Virginia on Sunday. But they also had floods 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago in June. West Virginia is a very small state, so are they just gutting it? Are they going to gut the entire state? Look at this cutting. And I was glad that in this video, the woman talks about how this is not the first flood that West Virginia has experienced this year.
Has a flood watch in effect across much of West Virginia right now, with high water still on many roads. This is the second major flood event in less than 30 days, and the science behind why it keeps happening is alarming.
We know what the science is, you know. It just has been going on and on. I don't know. One woman that I listened to, one of the broadcasts said, "That's it. I can't take anymore." That she can't do anything. $3.99 for gas. A mudslide and the flooding in her home. That's it. Done. Look at this. This was Sunday. We can't come back here.
Here on Garrison Avenue is one area of the city that felt the most impact from last night's flooding. And just driving through the neighborhood behind me, there were multiple power lines that were down, multiple trees that were down, and there was debris in almost everyone's front yard.
This is a house on Garrison Avenue on Charleston's west side. The owners of this home tell me after last night's flood, their home is a total loss.
The whole house, yeah, it's gutted. There's nothing you can do in there.
Phyllis Holstein has lived on Garrison Avenue for the past 46 years. But after last night's storms and the flooding damage to her home, she says it's time to move.
We can't come back here. Yeah, there's no way to come back.
2 years ago, there was flooding in the same neighborhood. Holstein says that was a devastating flood, but yesterday's storm was 100 times worse.
When the water came down, it rose up on the porch really quick. It came through the door, it came through the walls. The chimney halfway down caved and blew out in the living room. It blew out the wall over where my laundry room is. It detached my back deck, and my back deck is up there. But not only that, we had a mudslide. Like I said, it rocked the foundation, us all the way 8 feet over. It's it's just completely ruined.
I spoke with Mayor Amy Goodwin, who applauds the City of Charleston's storm response team.
Preparation number.
My God, whoa. And yeah, just a little bit more of just Sundays
that
damage.
are now cleaning up after heavy rains just parked out over several areas and dumped lots of rain within a short amount of time. Let me show you some video here, and this is specifically in Fayette County, West Virginia. So many areas looking just like this yesterday. Underwater, and families now, though the waters have receded, now dealing with a major cleanup process ahead. So many people telling us that they were just trying to salvage what they could after the water came up so quickly, and others saying that unfortunately they don't know if they're ever going to be able to return home because of how extensive the damage is after this storm. And sadly, we have learned that this flooding has claimed a life in Fayette County, West Virginia.
Well, this was posted 3 weeks ago.
The floodwaters are gone, but the destruction remains. The area near Stone Coal Lake, where 2 people died, was hard hit. Across Lewis, Upshur, and neighboring counties, debris lines roadsides as families salvage whatever they can from homes that in many cases were nearly washed away. For some people, this storm was literally the end of the road. The area around Linger Run Road took 2 major hits of rain that ripped away culverts and sections of roadway. Highway crews have a major fix ahead. This small bridge is a washout. Residents are struggling with the impacts on homes, outbuildings, and private bridges.
The water got up, washed the building out off the foundation, got under the house, all the ductwork and our dryer vent, filled the garage up. Everything was underwater in here. I had to work on the power washer to get it to work because it was underwater.
Governor Patrick Morrisey says this
3 weeks ago, okay? This too, all of these, how do you calculate how many people have lost their homes?
Cars, businesses, and homes around Weston could be seen with marks on the side where muddy floodwaters stopped rising. Weston City Manager Joe Solberg says the city is working to support its residents, but like Talbert said, the speed of the rainfall was just too much.
I think it happened so quickly last night. There were so many folks who were stranded, and it's not that they didn't receive the memo, it's that it went from 0 to 100 in minutes.
Now on Wednesday morning, people are assessing the damage to their homes and in some cases trying to make it back to them for the first time. But emergency officials are reminding them to still be cautious of floodwaters wherever you travel.
Starting out in St. Mary's today, Governor Morrisey was assessing the damages caused by a tornado. The National Weather...
Oh, a tornado too hit West Virginia. This is all West Virginia. It's all West Virginia, okay? And you have to wonder, are they literally now, 2026, maybe they only have a little time before 2030, and they're bringing about such enormous destruction when the economy is so it's trashed. Our economy, it's done. And when you look at what's happening now and this past year, how you have an awful lot of people in West Virginia, even though they have a billionaire governor, a whole lot of the West Virginians are really, they've been so impoverished because of the coal mining shutdown. And well, what happens to them?
Service confirmed that 2 funnels touched down in Washington County, Ohio, and went east toward Pleasants County, West Virginia, one of which continued southeast toward Doddridge County on a non-continuous path. Multiple damages were reported, including at Wright's Riverside Marina and former Senator Donna Boley's home, as you can see.
This is, you got me. I don't know what these people are doing, how they can manage surviving this. But this was 2 months ago.
And under both a flood watch and a severe thunderstorm watch tonight, as rain continues to cause flooding problems across West Virginia. Bob Aaron followed the rain impact in central West Virginia today.
Flooding has already been reported across a wide area, including Roane, Calhoun, Gilmer, and Lewis counties, roughly following the US 33 corridor. Emergency crews responded to several high water situations, including vehicles trapped in high water that blocked the U.S. highway near Glenville.
The water was already this high in Gilmer County by late morning, an indication of more trouble to come with more rain.
Well, right now, the best thing people can do is just stay at home. If the water's across the road right now, turn around and don't drown. Be out running around. And if you get stuck in the water, the first responders are at risk of going in to rescue you.
A few flooded. Severe storms are still an issue. We're surrounded by water, with a few flooded. Severe storms are still an issue. If outdoors, officials say to seek shelter inside a sturdy building or vehicle, as frequent cloud-to-ground lightning is occurring with these storms. Lightning can strike as far away as 10 miles away from a thunderstorm.
We want to update you now with continuing coverage of the ongoing flooding in north central West Virginia. Fowl made an announcement about 2 missing people during a news briefing this morning in Buchanan. Governor Morrissey says a vehicle found overturned in the floodwaters was believed to be connected to those 2 missing people. We still don't have a positive identity on either of those victims. Now, due to the surrounding damage and debris, emergency officials say they were unable initially to reach that overturned vehicle. Meantime, the governor also spoke on the ongoing recovery efforts in Upshur and Lewis counties.
We know that. Okay, so ongoing recovery from past weather events, and this was current 3 weeks ago.
This is not our first flood, but I've never seen any.
Okay, this one, June 16.
Thing like that. I've never seen destruction like this before, and the speed of which it happened. And it moved our trucks, it moved product that was in our warehouse. It just whole 1,000, 2,000 pound skids. I have product that was out here on our road 50 yards from our building that it just pushed it right through the walls of the doors of our warehouse. So it's a force that you can't even imagine. This is a small, really tight community, maybe 500 to 1,000 people here. And one of our truck drivers lost his mom. I have a friend of mine who lives right up there, maybe a half a mile from me. He had 2 trucks that got pushed through the water that landed in his house. Many of our business community lost everything. We'll rebuild, we'll recover, but we just don't even know the extent of the dollars or the extent of our damage at this point.
Well, I hope you rebuild, but I don't see how an awful lot of people can do that. So this is just West Virginia, and it's not all of their weather events, because I just went to June. It's scary when you realize that so many people are suffering, so many. And it's been going on year after year after year after year, only getting worse. So now we see inland hurricanes. We see hurricane winds all over the place, taking out roofs and trees, and the extent of the damage. Oh God, I wish I could, maybe grab 5 of you and you do a search on, let's say the first 2 months, and then another person does, 3 and 4, the third and fourth month, and we just keep going. But this is really, but what really, really concerns me is you get a state like West Virginia, where an awful lot of people have literally, they have their homes, but they're like, if they have a job, they're paycheck to paycheck. And then they have this happen to them. I wish I could hear from some who have experienced this. All right, so God, oh my God, what the hell? See, they're doing this seriously. CDC has zombie programs funded by Congress that lack staff to operate the programs. Remember, we posting on the CDC and their zombie page on the CDC website. Now that the news, they're reporting this like it is serious.
The nation's top public health agency is facing a dilemma: what to do about its zombie programs. I'm talking about the Centers.
I hope you can hear this. I just can't believe, I'm going to start from the beginning. It's like, what are we living? What the hell are we living?
The nation's top public health agency is facing a dilemma: what to do about its zombie programs. I'm talking about the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention based in Atlanta, which, if you've seen the TV show The Walking Dead, was destroyed amid a fictional zombie invasion. The zombies in this situation, however, are CDC programs that appear to be alive, at least according to legislation and congressional appropriations. But functionally, they're dead or nearly dead because CDC experts that staff them were laid off or remain on paid leave. There are dozens of these zombie programs, according to a union that represents CDC workers. Examples include programs devoted to Alzheimer's disease, sickle cell disease, epilepsy, drowning prevention, rape prevention, and a program designed to help understand why the U.S. has a higher rate of women dying of childbirth. How did this happen? Last year, the Trump administration announced plans to reorganize federal public health work, and it laid off thousands of federal health workers. The CDC lost about a quarter of its workforce, mainly as a result of layoffs and retirements.
Okay, are they going to bring something like this about? They can, by the way. Will they? Will they? Is this, hey, Americans, this is a serious thing, so be really scared. Be really scared. Supreme Court rebuffs Trump's last-ditch effort to deny $5.6 million payment to Jean Carroll. Okay, you lost, and then you get your attorneys and you're paying those attorneys. Who, by the way, is paying those attorneys? Is it the American taxpayers? But you're asking the Supreme Court to reconsider their original ruling, and they did, and they said no. Who's paying for all of these lawsuits that he loses and his administration loses? The American taxpayer. Shocking number of Gen Z shut-ins report 0 face-to-face human interactions per day. Okay. Gen Z, it's a generation that all of the generations before them should be helping out Gen Z. They have been so unbelievably screwed like no other generation. Now, that doesn't mean that other generations haven't been screwed. Gen Z, okay, there are no jobs out there. They grew up staring at screens. They had to live through this pandemic, and nearly 10% of Gen Zers said they had zero face-to-face interactions with another person in their daily life. Dangerous trend. 10%. That's a huge number. Not sure how they calculate all of this, but are they literally just staying at home staring at screens? Maybe. Maybe. We are a species. We need one another. It's a need. It's not a want. It's a need. You know, we have a social contract with one another. And it has been so utterly broken in our country that so many are really suffering just from that. Just from that. How many videos do I did on Never Lose Truth. This is a very different channel in terms of who I've subscribed to, but every single day I was seeing, videos of primarily young posting on how they're incredibly isolated, lonely, and an awful lot saying that they're choosing isolation. I don't think people choose isolation. I think people are just having great difficulty connecting with one another. And, behavior has certainly changed in our country. And we have so many that are just on such a superficial level. If you can talk to them at all, it's that small talk that not a lot of people really enjoy. So we have a real problem with connection. And I'm sorry, the human being longs for connection. Long for it. And when they don't have it, they begin to experience not a fun life. Now, Shapiro in Pennsylvania has cracked down on data centers. The speculators are scaring communities. The talk about the speculators, incomplete, lackluster proposals, overwhelming local officials, speculators scaring people, and painted a stark picture of communities being overrun by half-baked data center proposals, even as he stressed that only 5 such facilities have the permits they need to begin operating. And I did, a couple of nights ago, I think, mention that, and I wish I could find that video of, somebody who works with the data centers or builds them, and he said, the speculators are out there and they're proposing data centers, and then they get the permits and they build them. But their main goal is to sell them to Amazon, to Meta, to Google. And if they don't buy them, they sit there. They sit there. It's the zombie data centers. They threaten to change fundamentally the character of the community. And what he said, there's a plan, Amazon has a plan, $20 billion investment for data centers, data center campuses in Bucks and Lucerne. But I'm distinguishing speculative proposals from real projects. It's important that rules are not changed midstream, impacting ongoing investment in verified and responsible data center projects. So he's not putting a moratorium on data centers. Companies have made plans, communities have prepared for economic opportunities, and workers are ready to build the next generation of digital infrastructure right here in Pennsylvania. But he said he was immediately removing data centers from fast track permitting. Most critically, the order will also offer local communities an effective veto over data center projects permits. That's good. So you guys in your local communities in Pennsylvania, get out there and pressure your town council, commissioners, whatever they're called there, to veto. Get rid of them. They're not good. So he said, let me put it succinctly. If the local community doesn't approve a project, the state won't approve it as well. And listen to the two women are being sued by their local government for protesting data centers.
So new at 6 tonight, the city of Edgerton, Kansas is taking two women to court. It's over their efforts to try to stop a data center there. Box 4 problem solver Bella Caracta speaks with the women who say this is an attack on people's ability to say no to these data centers.
The road to turn this logistics park into a data center has been bumpy, and now the city wants to put a roadblock in front of residents who do not want this to come to town. There's a movement in Edgerton.
I mean, there's a group of us who came together united in this purpose.
And Carrie Schmidt and Kimberly 20 are part of it. They helped circulate this petition.
Prohibit high impact data centers in the city of Edgerton.
And successfully got more than double the number of signatures needed to put the data center issue to a vote.
All this is doing is bringing a question to the ballot so that the citizens of Edgerton would have a vote on it. They could decide.
But the city of Edgerton does not want people to vote on this petition. This is the lawsuit they filed and served Schmidt and 20 with.
They are basically sending a message, don't petition us anymore or we're going to sue you.
Here are the high points. According to the city of Edgerton, the petition has unsupported factual findings, is a zoning restriction disguised as a nuisance ordinance, and administrative in nature and doesn't fall under the citizen petition process. The city's attorney tells Fox 4 this is not an order preventing these individuals from contacting the city or anyone else. The city is asking the court to temporarily pause the election process that is required under the state law while the court determines whether the proposed ordinance can legally proceed to a vote.
Is this
what? Okay, obviously they do not want these women organizing any opposition to the data center. Okay? You guys in this area of Kansas, get rid of these commissioners. Get rid of them now. You know, don't vote them out. Get rid of them. They're coming after the residents for using their voice, their First Amendment, I can protest, I can be in opposition. No, you're going to get sued. Wow, not good. And $5,000 fee to fund universal child care leads businesses to sue Prince George's County. Everything has just gone completely and utterly insane, and I meant to bookmark this for tomorrow. So, this Sainsbury, this is in Great Britain. A store pauses AI scanning after false shoplifting accusation against this man. Well, I was embarrassed, mortified even, and felt quite humiliated and powerless. This is Matt Arnold, 46, in Sainsbury. The comedy promoter was buying supplies in the store in East Dulwich in southeast London for a stand-up event at the Dulwich Hamlet Football Club when, after scanning his items and a Nectar card, he was approached by two managers who told him he could not be served owing to an earlier incident. The facial recognition picked him up, but he had never shoplifted. Okay. He was then asked to leave, and they tried to escort him from the store. They simply told me they would be walking me out. At that point, I did stand my ground and said I would be walking myself out. I was determined to keep some dignity on this point. If nothing else, they did relent. As he left, he saw an overhead CCTV monitor alert with a red circle surrounding his face. He asked the shop staff to keep all of his shopping in the trolley. His friend would come and pick it up, which his friend did 5 minutes later. And this artificial intelligence is so unbelievably wrong an awful lot, and it is causing a tremendous amount of problems for people, whether it's flock, whether it's facial recognition. And we really should be fighting like hell to get rid of this. This woman, okay, she spent 7 months in legal hell after cops used flock surveillance to identify the wrong car. 7 months having to fight when she's completely innocent. Do you know what this does to people? You know, to have to hire attorneys, you're brought into jail. You are actually someone who's innocent. This woman attended his granddaughter's birthday party in Sanford, Florida. At the end of the night, he headed to his daughter's home. 8 miles down Interstate 4, a speeding car swerved across multiple lanes at over 100 miles per hour. It swiped his motorcycle, then hit a Ford Focus, causing a pileup before driving away, and Deno died at the scene. And witnesses said the speeding car was a Dodge Durango. Police found that a flock camera, a type of automated license plate reader, had spotted a Durango nearby at the time, and they arrested 23-year-old Lindsay Isaacs. But Isaacs wasn't involved in the crash. And that's when you just go through your Kafka-esque experience in 2026. And shock gloves, I don't know if any of you know about these gloves, that ICE is going to spend, $20 million to purchase these shock gloves where ICE or police and apparently school resource officers, they have them on their hands, and if they press one particular button on that and hit the skin of the person that is just not submitting fast enough, it shocks them. School resource officers already are using them. 29 Omaha, Nebraska schools, and they used it so far, on 2 students. Boy, certainly the baby boomers. I don't remember, and I was the bad kid, okay? I don't remember ever any of what these schools like today, it's a completely different world. 20 million ICE is buying up, not taxpayer money, okay? And it's absolutely terrifying. AI is writing up congressional bills, and they're doing it really badly. Using AI to drive what? Well, yeah, the tech Nazis want full control of the world, and they want AI governance, not people. AI to be the government. 4 anonymous congressional staffers say AI generated text is seeping into bills at an alarming rate. Alarming because when they pass, bills turn into federal statutes that are part of the bedrock of American life. Well, there's a lot of mistakes that AI is making. And if you want to read more, but this is, the tech bros, the tech Nazis, little by little, they introduce AI into Congress and it begins to take over. It's not anything that you want. None of us want, for sure. The link to the article is in the chat. And then, when we have so much going on and there's like no jobs out there and everything is so expensive, we have people that all they do is degrade, demean. The cruelty is just now off the charts. This guy Waters is and I don't watch any of these shows. I just see, clips on Twitter. And I'm like, holy shit. How did these people get away with saying what they say?
So I have my own plan for healthcare. It's called the Waters Plan. Number 1, the Somali pirates, they stopped stealing our booty. Number 2, you slash immigration, that's just a supply and demand issue. No more doctors getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies to prescribe drugs. And how about get a job? Because most companies provide health care. If you're 30 and went to grad school and are an Ethiopian barista, like your friend in Colorado, yeah, she doesn't have health insurance because she doesn't work. Also, MAHA, ever heard of it? Make America Healthy Again. It's called Eat Right and Exercise. Maybe try that. I do it. And I don't whine and go to the doctor for every ache and pain. I hurt my knee the other day at the beach. I hyperextended it. Now, I don't know if it hyperextended. I self-diagnosed. But I didn't run to the doctor and, jack up everybody's healthcare bills. I did my own research on the internet, and I'm almost as explosive as I used to be.
We thank you for your sacrifice.
Well, thank you very much. But we have to start treating everyone like babies. Cradle to the grave health insurance. I don't want that. This is a self-reliant country built on rugged individualism, and I'll pay for poor and elderly health care. I will not pay for healthy, wealthy, hardworking Americans' health care. They have to pay their own way.
Okay.
Let's treat you like a baby. No running on the sand, Jesse.
There are no jobs out there. They know it. They fucking well know it. And this is what the young have to hear? Are you kidding? We're cruel, okay? This is a cruelty. Anybody watching this show, Fox News, and agreeing with this is really cruel. You're a disgrace. Abject disgrace. Get a job. Well, how many of the young have we heard? A whole lot of them through tears. They can't find a job. They can't find a job. They can't find a job. How many are moving back with their parents because they can't afford rent. How many know that the American dream, you know, will they ever have an opportunity to buy a home? They know they will never have that opportunity, and they have to listen to this. Okay, I'm sorry. Something's wrong with our country. Something is so wrong with our country that he feels perfectly comfortable to say all of this and laugh. And laugh. Wow, man. And then you have this, right? Then you have Trump. Yeah. Well, he's opening a bank, self-dealing, his own regulators. What the hell? What? He's starting a bank? Regulators appointed by Trump are allowing the Trump family's flagship cryptocurrency venture to become a bank. World Liberty Financial, crypto firm. Now you know the utter corruption that is taking place. You know that Trump lies through his teeth about the economy. This guy should be shamed into the fucking ground. And I'm talking about through a cement sidewalk. Firm Trump and his sons, okay, they launched in 2024 World Liberty Financial. And now they're opening a bank, but it's Trump's regulators, green light from regulators. Go ahead, open up, start a bank. What are we doing here? Okay, we know that Trump doesn't give a shit about anybody, and he sure doesn't care about Americans, and he is looting this country like right in our face every day. Every day this goes on. I'll post, because it's near the end, I'll post the link. You can read about it. I don't get it. I thought maybe we weren't this dead, but we are. The zombies. We're the Walking Dead. It is quite precarious to have the president and his family invested heavily in one of our most important regulated industries at the same time as he has the power to hire and fire the regulators. And we have the homeless more and more hitting the streets. And what happens? Well,
bulldozers.
No one's helping them. But every time they set up in an area, boom, the bulldozers come in.
We're back, wiping away a homeless encampment in Norman this morning.
Now, this is part of Governor Stitt's Operation Safe initiative.
It is the same encampment we told you about a week ago that was completely rebuilt after the governor's program wiped it.
I'm sorry, but you know what? At some point, Americans have to really come together and realize, okay, a whole lot of the homeless, a whole lot are working and living in their cars. A whole lot of the homeless, well, when you look at how many homes are being destroyed due to fire, due to flood, a whole lot can't recover. There are no jobs out there. The drug addicts and, a whole lot here homeless, and that's what they think, alcoholic, drug addict, mentally ill. Well, a lot of the homeless population is not that. Not that you shouldn't, have any compassion for those who are troubled, but It would be so easy to provide housing, affordable housing. It would be so easy for all of these states to, okay, we've got a homeless problem, and you don't want them parking their tents right next to a resident. It's a home. Then how about just provide an area? The state, let them bring in tents, or how about provide some kind of tiny homes, porta potties, something? No, nothing. They just come along with their bulldozers and throw everything away. And then you have this.
Congress now, in the next Congress, we will not be arguing over marginal tax rates or regulation. We'll be arguing over whether or not we're going to maintain our republic.
I'm sorry, Mike, but I think, I did. My response, hey, Mike, let me give you a hint. We have not been a republic for a very, very, very long time, but I know Americans are really stupid, and frankly, most wouldn't know what a constitutional republic is. They would say, what? We're a democracy. Or how it operates. Do you even know how it operates, Mike? Because we don't have it. He's worried about those communists that are going to take over in November when they lose the election. So we're just going to be fighting over having to save a republic that does not exist. And I think most people, well, certainly most of you know, it does not exist. Oh, man. And Trump. New U.S. territory. This is what he posts on Truth Social. The new U.S. territory, the Strait of Hormuz. Antagonize. It's you think a post like this is going to go over very well in Iran, Oman. Oh, he did say he was going to bomb Oman. And Oman, well, we've always gotten along with Oman, but no, he came out and threatened Oman. Why do you do this? You're supposed to be negotiating peace? You think that's going to go over well? This is what this guy is. All he does is create trauma. He's like Linus, Peanuts, carrying a really dirty blanket around with him. New U.S. territory. Well, U.S. mulls shrinking military footprint in Gulf as a result of war on Iran. Why? Because many of our military bases have been destroyed by Iran, but also a lot of Gulf states, well, we betrayed them because we were supposed to be protecting them, and we didn't. They are also considering getting rid of the United States out of their countries. So I think maybe the United States is coming out first. Well, we're thinking about leaving the Gulf states. I don't know, maybe to save face. And another destroyer. South China Sea breakdown leaves Navy destroyer powerless for several days. And we are so embarrassing now. It's like horsing around. Trump's AI George Washington image symbolically backfired. this guy is so, man, what? So, a recent cultural blunder, symbolic one, which comes, well, maybe this was purposeful, with an image he posted yesterday. It sees Trump horse riding with George Washington, white horse, he on a black horse, and, well, black horse, cultural connotations. Black horse are numerous, usually negative. 1781 masterpiece, The Nightmare. The ghostly dark horse is a sleep paralysis demon and the embodiment of repressed dread. Modern symbolism, the black horse can reflect hidden desires and dark secrets, but generally belongs to a series of images mirroring what psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow self. Yeah, which includes repressed anger and shame. There's no repressed anger in Trump. The biblical reading, as the black horse, is a known reference with apocalyptic, context for horsemen, and the black horse is famine, representing food scarcity and economic hardship. And man, oh man, Washington was a general. Trump is generally an idiot. These are responses. And does Trump not know that bad guys ride the black horse? You knew I was a snake before you let me in. He knows. He knows. Trump is not joking about a third term. That's authoritarianism, plain and simple. And it should scare the shit out of every single one of us. We're cooked, okay? That's why it's really important, for everyone to try to create some kind of community to help those who are suffering the consequences of what amounts to as great evil, leaving an awful lot of people suffering. Well, it's winning. Jeannie Rose ain't gonna win. It's winning. It's taking us down a really bad, painful path. He can't have a third term constitutionally. Well, let's see if the Constitution actually exists around 2027, 2028, because much of it does not. It's just, a lot of Americans believe that there is a Constitution and they have constitutional rights. No, you don't. You don't. We're already a tyranny. We are already very fascist. And we're already showing the cruelty that, well, a whole lot of us can associate with the Nazis. Wow. Well, if you guys are not suffering the consequences of what's going on, I hope you never have to. So, 17 active weather warnings: Alabama, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Wisconsin. Wow. Okay. I will drop the link if any of you are in any of those states and want to see what counties are experiencing or will experience severe weather, click on the link. But remember to check your weather before you go to bed. Okay? And if you're near any of these places that have been hit hard with weather warfare, then drive out. You don't even have to do it, just drive out. They need help. A whole lot of us need help. So, you guys stay safe. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow. I may go early tomorrow and would love to see you then. But on that note, I say, whew, good night, good luck, and ciao.